Happy Halloween, folks, and welcome to the Knights Sports Arena here at Southern Virginia University for the CAC Women's Volleyball Conference Tournament game between the Seagulls of Salisbury University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson Weidrich, and on my behalf and the behalf of the crew here at Southern Virginia, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the Knights Sports Network. Now, today is a rematch in the CAC Conference Tournament game between the Knights and the Seagulls. And earlier on in the year, the Seagulls came here to the Knights Sports Arena, and it was a very tight matchup. The Knights ended up winning 3-1, and the fourth set went down to the wire. It was a 33-31 win for the Knights, and of course the senior Allison Teagues had very clutch performance in that game. They recently just won their senior night game here at home a couple weeks ago. And the Knights are also coming off a win against Lynchburg, who early on in the season handed the Knights their first home loss for the season, so they're able to avenge that. And as for Salisbury, Salisbury is now 5th ranked in the conference, whereas the Knights are 4th ranked. And so, of course, this being the first round of the playoffs, we're excited to see some exciting action here. And so, also, if the Knights are able to win this game, they will face off between one of two teams, either the number 1 seed, Mary Washington, or number 8 seed, St. Mary's. Now, of course, the Knights would love to have St. Mary's because the Knights have already played them so far this season, and we're able to get a win here at Knights Sports Arena against them. And if Mary Washington were to win, well, the Knights don't feel like they'd be counted out because when they played against Mary Washington, they were neck and neck. They got swept in that game, but every single set game was down to the wire within 2 or 3 points. So the Knights feel like they could really compete with them. And I also got to talk to Coach Baker, head coach of the Knights, a little bit before the game, and she had some points she wanted to stress. First and foremost, and almost every single time she talks about it, is serve and serve-receive. Of course, serving well, serving strong, and making sure you set up your offense on that serve-receive. She's going to say that every single time that I go and ask her about their strategy. And another thing she talked about was needing a strong balance in their offense, getting everybody involved. You know, there's games where maybe one person will take over and getting kills, which we've seen players like Haley Lonez and Ella Burrows kind of have games like that. But Coach Baker is looking to see everybody get involved, everybody getting involved in the kills category, getting a lot of blocks, and shutting down Venturelli for Salisbury like they did last time. Venturelli is the leader in kills for the Seagulls. In fact, she has about 296 kills on the season. But against the Knights earlier on this year, she only had 9 kills. The Knights were able to limit her very well and did a very good job defending her and getting blocks in front of her. And that goes back to serving well. If you serve well, it sets it up to where the Seagulls almost have to set it to Venturelli, and therefore they know who to get blocks in front of, which makes it easier for those middle blockers. And the last thing that Coach Baker wanted to talk about was when we pass well, we hit well. It's plain and simple. You got to get those passes right where those outside hitters and those middle blockers can get to it. And those one hits, they also have to get those pins like we talked about, where the middle goes to the outside after a set, jumps off 1 foot, and gets across court. Those are some of the things we're looking for today. And again, it's just an exciting game here at the Knights Sports Arena. And we're excited to see as more and more people come piling in, the energy that's going to be built up in here. As the Knights always have more energy in this place, being 6-1 in the season at home. And again, we're excited to see that. And with that, we'll go back to the team here on the court. We'll watch some pregame, and then we'll have the national anthem and a prayer as tradition here at SVU. We'll be back with you in just a few moments.
Your attention, please. Welcome to the Night Arena and tonight's women's volleyball matchup featuring the Seagulls of Salisbury University. President Wilcox and the SVU staff thank you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in today's contest. In the spirit of good sportsmanship, we ask you to respect the following SVU athletic rules. Cheer loudly and proudly for your team, not against the visitors. No profanity, vulgarity, racist or sexist remarks. No personal remarks towards players, coaches, or officials. Stay away from the playing area and team bench areas. Zero tolerance for alcohol and tobacco use at all contests. Cheer loudly and proudly for your team and keep it positive for our visitors. Thank you for your participation and go Knights! In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered by Ashley Preisler.
Our dear, kind, and gracious Father in heaven, we are so grateful for this day. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to be here, and we're grateful for this sport. Heavenly Father, please bless us tonight to have an enjoyable evening, that no one will get hurt or injured, and that the girls can enjoy the spirit of competition. We are grateful for our blessings, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now, if you will please rise and face the flag for the playing of our nation's national anthem. Thank you. And now for your starting lineups. Starting for the Seagulls of
And we're back, folks. Dawson Wiedrick here for the starting lineups for both teams. Forgot to mention earlier, it's homecoming week here at SVU. So there's been a lot of festivities on campus, and because of that, head coach of the football team, Coach Mulitalo, has brought some of his football players here in attendance today in order to cheer on this night's volleyball squad, who so far for the season is sitting at 15-9, 4-3 in conference. And of course, that earned them a fourth place spot. And Salisbury here, the opponent against the Knights, is now sitting at about 15-10. They're 3-4 in conference play, just barely behind the Knights as far as conference play is concerned. And so they are positioned at number 5. And again, we mentioned about how the Knights and the Seagulls met up early this season as the Knights starters are being announced and the crowd is starting to come alive here. Allison Teagues had a great clutch game. And that first one's Laurie Crockett. She's the setter for this team. She's the one that makes it so that these outside hitters can even do their job. Freshman Ella Burrows, who has really been a spark for this team so far this year, getting a lot of blocks and kills and being just such a productive player. And Allison Teagues, the lone senior on the squad, who was honored last week during senior night. And then sophomore Haley Lonez. She has really also been a spring for this team, a big spark of energy as she had to switch positions early on. And then sophomore Lindsay Hire, middle blocker, who has seen a lot of action this year. And then 20, Kaylee Rath, who started off the season in the starting group, but then had to sit off for a little bit due to an injury, but has been back for a couple weeks. And McKinley Knight, the libero, who's also been very reliable. And again, just a lot of teams for this Knights team have stepped up. And due to them being a young squad, it's really tested their patience as a team and their ability to come together And again, so many freshmen starting. Ella Burrows being a prime example. And then you have young players like Sarah Smedley, who comes in for Allison Teagues in that back row. She's a transfer from Utah State. And you have players like Julia Hopkin, who've come in and had clutch performances as far as serving and outside hits are concerned. In fact, Julia Hopkin had to do a lot of the tough work on the outside while Kaylee Rath was recovering from her injury. And with the Seagulls, they have also been doing very well this season. Again, we talked about Nicole Venturelli having 296 kills in the season. There's also Amanda Chu, who had quite the day against the Knights when they played here last time. I believe she ended up with 15 kills that day. And then there's Carly Cleland, who has 193 kills in the season. And so we're excited to see this first set start underway here, as the Knights are barely favored in this conference tournament game. And again, the Knights not quite looking beyond this game, but you have to think about the next round. If they are to pull this off, who they would face, if it's St. Mary's or Mary Washington. And, of course, St. Mary's being the underdog in that first round against Mary Washington, of course, who is the #1 seed in this conference. And, again, like I said earlier, SVU feels like they can play with either of them. You know, they've beaten St. Mary's early on this season, 3-1, and they play Mary Washington very tight. And so to start off this game, serving is number 5, Rachel Dubbs for the Seagulls. Rachel Dubbs is a setter, junior from Ellicott, Maryland. That serve, McKinley Knight gets it to Lurie Crockett, who gets it to Allison Teagues. Gets it over the block, and that's a kill for Allison Teagues to start this off. And the Knights are now up 1-0. There was just nobody there for the Seagulls, so it makes you wonder exactly what the Seagulls are doing. Maybe they got caught watching. As Haley Lones set to serve here. Haley Lones had quite the day the other day in their win over Lynchburg, as she had 7 service aces. In fact, had a long stretch of service aces when the Knights took a 20-5 lead in one of those sets. Allison Teagues. It's going to hit off the ceiling and make it tough for the Seagulls. McKinley Knight gets on the ground and goes after it. And just because the chair's over there makes it awkward to get to it, and so that'll be a point for the Seagulls, excuse me. As #1 Darian DiMatteo substitutes in for the Seagulls, who will be serving. And if you've joined us on prior broadcasts, you know we've talked a lot about the energy at Sports Tonight Arena. And it's not a big place, like we've said, but it's packed full of energy with the students that come in here. As that is a good dig by Haley Lones. Crockett to Rath, and she gets it over. And that's going to be a double on number 5, Rachel Dubbs of the Seagulls. And now it's going to be 2-1 in favor of the Knights, as Ella Burrows checks in for Lindsay Heyer. That's been a rotation we're so accustomed to seeing so far this season. Ella Burrows and Lindsay Heyer really going back and forth in the minutes there. Both doing excellent work there in that middle blocking position. Ella Burrows able to get that. Crockett to Teagues. That's going to be off the block of Nicole Venturelli. And Lurie Crockett just barely not getting it, being able to get it back across. Now it is 2-2 in favor of the Seagulls. And now number 7, Hannah Sullivan, will be serving. Hannah Sullivan is a freshman middle blocker from Churchville, Pennsylvania. Went to Council Rock South High School. Crockett to Burrows. Off the block of Gianna Sabres. McKinley Knight to Crockett to Burrows. And that's going to hit off the ceiling again. That's been one thing that opposing teams have really struggled with coming into Knight Sports Arena, is dealing with that ceiling. And it caused to be effective there as the Knights get that point, as it was hit out of bounds by number 15, Sabres, who also had a really good game here at Knight Sports Arena last time around, just about over a month ago. Now Allison Teagues, a lone senior, will be serving. A nice serve on the far side. And nice block by Ella Burrows right back to the Seagulls side of the court. Another block by Burrows. McKinley Knight will get to that, and Rath able to get across, but DiMatteo able to get it. McKinley Knight again to Crockett, who sets it right over. Brilliant set over the net by Lurie Crockett. That'll make it 4-2 in favor of the Knights. She's known to do those every now and then, where she just sets it right in the perfect spot, right in the middle of the court on the opposing side. Again, Allison Teague serving here. Now Sabres getting across, and it's going to hit off the scores table, making it 4-3. And as the game wears on, we're starting to see more costumes sneak into the game. Again, Halloween night is tomorrow, As Sarah Smedley checks in for Allison Teagues, we see the luchador mask. We see a man dressed as a banana. Yes, you heard me right, a banana. Carly Cleveland serving for the Seagulls. Crockett to Lones. And that goes off the hand a little awkwardly, but still manages to get over the net. Rath able to dig that one. Crockett. And McKinley Knight will get it over. DiMatteo gets to it, and Smedley. Crockett to Rath. Salisbury is able to get it over somehow. Burrows not able to get the pin play as it goes right into the net, tying it at 4 here. And then Carly Cleveland will be serving it again, and you just feel the energy building up so much more and more as this game wears on. It's only the first set, ladies and gentlemen. You see the fans getting involved, trying to distract Carly. Now Smedley to Crockett, to Rath, who hits it out of bounds. She's had a hard time with that so far since she's been back from her injury, getting up and over the ball so it doesn't sail on her. It's a work in progress. And then Carly Cleveland serving again as they take the lead 5-4. McKinley Knight to Crockett, tries to across. And Smedley able to get it over. Somehow she had to punch it over instinctively, and Burrows. Looks like they're going to call net violation on the Seagulls and give the point to the Knights, tying it up at 5. As number 16, Morgan Catalanoto, will be substituting in for the Seagulls. And then Julia Hopkin, number 2, will be coming in for Kaylee Rath for the Knights. Julia Hopkin is known to come in from time to time to serve in place of Kaylee Rath. Again, we talked about Julia Hopkin coming in and playing so well as a freshman. Really stepping up when Kayla Rath was started. Blocked straight down by Ella Burrows. Straight down in front of Salisbury. Oh my goodness. That makes it 6-5. And if you hear that crowd noise, ladies and gentlemen, just keep waiting. It's going to get louder and louder here at Knight Sports Arena. Off the hand of Burrows. It barely goes over, and the Seagulls are able to tie it at 6. Now number 11, Chloe Adam, the outside hitter, will be checking in for the Seagulls. And I believe this is number 9, Nicole Venturelli, the leader in kills for this team, serving. Smedley. It comes off her arm wrong, and now it's going to be 7-6 in favor of the Seagulls. Again, we talked about Coach Baker's emphasis on serve-receive and how vital that is for this team today. Can't afford any mistakes. Venturelli. Lone is able to get to it. Hits it up for Knight, who's able to get it over. Nothing special there. Smedley to Crockett, who sets it to Lones. He's going to hit it wide left, and now it's going to be 8-6 in favor of Salisbury. And we mentioned many times here in this broadcast on how the Knights kind of struggle to start off in the first set. But so far, the gap between how they play in the first set and the next few sets has kind of closed as Haley Lona is able to get that kill and bring it back within 1, 8-7. Now Ella Burrows, the freshman, will be serving for the Knights. And that's going to go into the net for Ella Burrows. And then now McKinley Knight will be coming in for Ella Burrows, with Lindsay Heyer now being the middle blocker. Number 10, Haley Daughtry serving for the Seagulls. Laree. Lona's going to call a double on Laree. And joining us now is Shay Maloof, my co-commentator. Shay, how you doing today?
Good, Dustin. It's nice to be here. I was late again from baseball practice, so.
Hey, there you go. It's all good. What you get with a student-run broadcast program, you have student athletes as well as people in many different programs here at SVU chiming in. So great to have you back with us, Shay. A great hit by Heyer. McKinley Knight gets to it. Crockett hits it over. Venturelli's going to hit into the net, make it 10-8 in favor of the Seagulls. And Allison Teagues will come back in for Sarah Smedley. Louis Crockett, the junior, will be serving for the Knights. They now find themselves down by 2 in this first set. Nice serve to the far side. And that's going to go out of bounds. Julia Hopkins wisely deciding to duck her head and let it go out of bounds.
She heard her teammates just in time telling her that it was out.
Hey, or else she was going to head it like in soccer, you know. Larry Crockett serving again, 10-9. That one's going to go out of bounds, make it 11-9. And again, we talked about this being the first conference tournament game for the CAC conference and how the Knights, being fourth ranked in the conference, really have a win-win situation as far as if they win this game and who they play next time, because both teams that would be in the next round, either St. Mary's or Mary Washington, they've played tough before. So they know they can compete with them, as Haley Lonez able to get it over. They're going to call that a net violation, I believe, on Haley Lonez, make it 12-9.
And Dawson, talk about how the Knights can compete with the teams that are up next in the CAC conference. I think the Knights can compete with any team in the conference.
They really can. Any given night, if they their highest level can compete with anybody, even beyond this conference, I feel like.
Exactly.
McKinley Knight will get it up in the air. Hopkins, the ceiling helping them on that one. Lonez gets it over. Venturelli able to receive. Nice block by Lindsay Heyer. McKinley Knight will get it. Crockett gets it back up. But Larry Crockett slid underneath the net, causing a point. Now it'll be, I believe, 13-9. And now Coach Debbie Baker will take a timeout, and along with her, we will also take a timeout. We'll be right back with you in the Knight Sports Network. And we're back here in the first set in this CAC Conference Tournament matchup between the Seagulls of Salisbury and your Southern Virginia University Knights. Again, reminding I'm Dawson Weidrich. With me is Shane Malou from the Knight Sports Network. We thank you for joining us. It is a 4-point game here in this first set. The Seagulls find themselves up 13-9. Haley Lonez, awkward get, but then Lindsay Heyer able to get it up to Teagues. Off the hands of Lonez. Crockett to Teagues. He's going to have the top of the net, and that's going to be just enough to get the kill for Teagues.
And number 10 for Salisbury had already dove the other way, and the ball went right by her.
Right, it bounced off the net weird, so it made it difficult for them to get to it indeed. And now it's 13-10. The Knights trying to make a comeback here in the middle of this first set. Hits off the ceiling. Now McKinley Knight sets it for Crockett, who sets it for Lindsay Heyer. Good hit high to the far side. Knight gets it up. Crockett to Rath. A good kill for Kaylee Rath. She's really finding her stride since coming back from her injury.
Exactly, and we've been talking about that the whole time, how she's just gradually getting back, and I'd say she might be 100% now.
And Haley Lonez serving here now, down by 2, the Knights are. A nice solid serve. Early on the broadcast, I was talking about how Haley Lonez had 7 service aces, against Lynchburg this past week. In fact, that helped him to get a 20-5 lead in one of their sets. And so she's become a really reliable server for the Knights. And now DiMatteo serving for the Seagulls. Lonez up to Teagues. Venturelli able to get it back over. McKinley Knight gets up to Crockett. Rath, Heyer gets it up. Crockett to Rath again. Off the hands of Sullivan. And a good block by Lindsay Heyer. make it 12-14 as Lindsay Hire is going to get subbed out for Ella Burrows. Lindsay Hire, I believe that is her second block of the night. So far, doing a really good job of getting involved in that block category. McKinley Knight serving. Looks like they're going to call a backwards tap, I believe is what it is. And so that'll make it 13-14.
That was a good idea for the little tip, but just had a little bit of a carry on it.
Right. McKinley Knight able to serve. She has that soft serve that sometimes is really hard to judge. It's almost kind of like it's a pitch in baseball. It's like a knuckleball
pitch.
Well, it's like a knuckleball, how it doesn't spin, yeah.
And just hangs up in the air.
Exactly. And this is Hannah Sullivan serving for the Seagulls as the crowd is getting more and more involved. You see the Luchadors on the far side. Louis Crockett to Rath. Another good kill for Kaylee Rath, making it 14-15. And like a conference tournament game should go, this game is not disappointing as far as intensity is concerned.
Especially not the home crowd.
Yeah, exactly. You have many different teams coming out today. You see the football team on the far side. I was able to talk to Coach Mulitalo a little bit before. And a good kill by Kaylee Rath yet again. That ties it up at 15. The senior Allison Teagues, who was honored last week during senior night, is serving. And Teagues has been such a vital part of this group this year. She's had so many clutch performances, so many games where she just stepped up big time as a leader, as she needs to. And again, she'll be sorely missed at the end of this season. As Allison Teagues is set to serve again, the Knights now find themselves with a 1-point lead in the first set. And they're going to call that inbounds and get the point to the Knights. Make it 17-15. It was kind of an awkward scenario because the line judge on the far side almost got hit by the ball, so wasn't able to show a very accurate sign, but ended up calling it inbounds. They're going to call a double on the Seagulls, make it a 3-point lead for the Knights. And now the Seagulls will call a timeout, now find themselves down by 3, whereas they led this set by 3 for most of the time. And so with them, we'll take a timeout as well. We'll be right back on the Knight Sports Network. And we're back with you live on the Knight Sports Network after that timeout by Salisbury. And the Knights now taking a 3-point lead in this first set.
And a little score update on another CAC tournament action as Mary Washington is currently beating St. Mary's in the first set, 14-10. Very close set as we have here.
Yeah, it's a number 1 seed against the number 8 seed, so surprising to see it so close as the block by Ella Burrows goes out of bounds, make it 18-16. And again, we talked about how, again, the ideal situation would be to have a huge upset with St. Mary's beating Mary Washington, and St. Mary's being a team that the Knights know they can beat for sure. They beat them before. But again, they could compete with Mary Washington, absolutely, as Ella Burrows goes to the hit, and it's going to hit the top, or I guess hit a block, and Louis Crockett gets it back over. Savres able to get the kill there. Again, Savres is one of those who had a really good day here last time they came to Knight Sports Arena, having 15 kills in that game. As number 17 for the Seagulls, Carly Cleland serving. Smedley to Crockett to Burrows. Just a little touch hit over the net. Smedley able to get to it again. Crockett to Rath. Blocked down by Salisbury, but the Knights able to get to it. But that one's going to go just a little bit too far as it's now tied at 18.
That was a perfect idea to go right down the line right there. But just carried a little bit too far.
Exactly, great idea, right? Aiming for that far corner. Just again, not quite able to get on top of it enough. That's Cleland serving. And it's going to go right into the net, make it 19-18. Coach David Baker obviously upset about something, talking to Ella Burrows. And now Julia Hopkins will come in for Kaylee Rath, who will serve. The Knights trying to make some corrections there on the front line. Julia Hopkins serves that one just a little bit too strong. And then now number 11, Chloe Adam, will be coming in for the Seagulls. And then Venturelli will be serving. Smedley. Hopkins to Lonez. And that's blocked down by Salisbury, but Burrows able to get to it. Crockett to Lonez. That's a good dig by Haley Daughtry, who ends up getting it back over. McKinley Knight passes it to Crockett. Sets it for Lonez. That's going to be a double on Larry. As the number is 20-19 in favor of the Seagulls. I believe they counted that point wrong. Smedley to Crockett to Lonez. And that was number 5, Rachel Dobbs, getting it over. And that'll be a point for the Knights.
That was the perfect time for a tip right there as it caught Salisbury off guard.
Yeah, and Coach Baker informing the scores table that there was an error in the scoreboard like we had mentioned. It is now 20-20. Tie game here. They had counted one of Salisbury's points to the Knights earlier. And that's a good block by Larry Crockett. And that's going to hit the net and go out of bounds and make it a Knights point. Make it 20, I believe 21 to nothing, or 21-20, excuse me, not nothing. That would be ridiculous. But now Ella Burrows will be serving, the freshman. And that one's going to go a little bit too far. You got to imagine there's a lot of nerves that come into a conference tournament game coming in the first round. And so you might see the freshmen experience that a little bit with the serves and some of their hits. And you see that with Julia Hopkins and Ella Burrows, but they'll get their feet wet.
Well, they've also never had a home crowd this big.
Exactly. As that's going to go off the hands of number 16, Morgan Catalanoto. Make it 22-21, and now Larry Crock will be serving with Allison Teagues checking in for Sarah Smedley. And you're right about that one. This is the most intense that the home crowd has been for the Knights so far this season. A nice low serve for Crockett. Venturelli is going to hit that out of bounds, make it 23-21. And now a timeout will be taken by the Seagulls here in this tight first set as the Knights go into the timeout being up 23-21. We'll take a timeout with them as well. How about that, Shay?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll be right back, folks. Dawson Weidrich and Shane Maloof back here on the Knights Sports Network. We got an update for you on conference play. Shay?
So, number 1, Mary Washington is still beating number 8, St. Mary's. And the score is still about the same as it's 19-15. It's still a 4-point lead for Mary Washington in the first set.
Yeah, of course, no surprise that Mary Washington's winning, but maybe surprising as to how close it is. But again, we saw St. Mary's fight really hard against the Knights when they were here at Knight Sports Arena. So St. Mary's is one of those teams that just doesn't go away.
Right, and honestly, all the teams in the CAC are actually pretty close and evenly matched.
Right.
And so these games could go either way.
That's very true. And that's a good serve by number 5 for Salisbury. That is Rachel Dubbs. And it's 23-22 in favor of the Knights. Knight to Crockett to Teagues. And that's blocked straight back by number 11. That was Chloe Adam tying it up at 23. Now looks like Coach Baker will take another timeout here, as it is now tied 23-23. These next 2 points, so crucial. Again, you go to 25. If you're new to volleyball, you go to 25. Unless it's the 5th set, then you go to 15. And so the Knights really have no room for error here in these next 2 serves.
Right, and we've seen sets go to like 30-28 in this arena before. So while it is very rare, it can happen. But I don't think the Knights want that here in the first set.
Yeah, definitely not. As we also just got an update that York just beat Frostburg State in their first set of conference play. And so there's some results there. And again, with the nerves of it being a conference game and with the energy that is in this building, how the Knights respond to that is a great show of their maturity if they're able to pull off this first set. Because again, it's surprising to these young players. I mean, they've been in places where it's an intense environment, but of course, it being a home game, it just adds that emphasis, that need to win here at home, as they're 6-1 at home so far this year.
Right, every first thing that you do has a lot of pressure with it. Like for the freshmen, their first game in college had a lot of pressure along with it. This is their first playoff game, so that's going to have a lot of pressure along with it as well.
Absolutely. As number 5, Rachel Dubbs is serving for the Seagulls. Lonez, pass it to Crockett. And that's going to be a double. Looks like going to call a carry on Larry Crockett, make it 24-23. It was kind of an awkward pass that Larry Crockett had to deal with. And now Dubbs serving again. They now have set point. McKinley Knight passes it to Crockett. Sets it for Heyer. And that's a good kill for Lindsay Heyer, making it 24-24.
That was a great tip over Heyer. Perfect timing for that tip instead of going for the slam.
And now Julia Hopkins will be subbed out for Kaylee Rath. And then now Haley Lonez will be serving for the Knights. A nice serve by Haley Lonez. That's a service ace. Just like the other night, being clutch in the moment when you need it with service. Goodness gracious. As they now take the lead 25-24, set point. And then now, and we also just got word that CNU just beat Penn State Harrisburg in their first set. And CNU being the number 2 seed in the conference. As that serve goes to the net, and now it'll be 25-25 with number 1, DiMatteo, serving for the Seagulls. Lonez to Crockett to Teagues. That's going to hit off the ceiling. Off the hands of Heyer, and now that's going to make it 26-25 in favor of the Seagulls. There was 2 people trying to get that out of the net. And with that, it just went way too far back for anyone to get it. Now DiMatteo serving. Lonez, pass it to Crockett, who passes it to Rath. Nice hit cross court, but managed by the Seagulls. Knight to Crockett, to Rath. Now back to Crockett, to Knight, to Teagues. The Seagulls playing excellent defense right now. And that's a kill for Venturelli, and that gives the first set to the Seagulls here in the CAC Conference Tournament game. Now, at the end of that set, what are some things that you noticed that at the end of that set that cost the Knights in that first set?
Well, so there was a little bit of some miscommunication, like that one in the front net that was stuck in the net. That it looked like 2 or 3 of them were trying to get out. The blocking was pretty good. I would say just maybe some miscommunication, and because they hustled and showed great effort, and I would say just fix that miscommunication, and they got the next set.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Seagulls take the first set 26-24. And, you know, we talked about momentum in volleyball is such a strange thing. I mean, every sport has momentum swings. Every sport has certain situations where you have to get the momentum then and there. The first set is not one of those for volleyball. For volleyball, yes, it's a good showing of what you can do against the team. But in the end, you see most of these games in this conference specifically where teams win the first set, but then the next team will win the next three. And so the Knights hoping that is the case for them so far here tonight. We'll be right back with some second set action here between the Knights and the Seagulls. And we're back for the second set here in the CAC Conference Tournament matchup. The Seagulls able to take the first set 26-24 in a tight one. And the Knights played pretty well considering. I mean, you see so many first sets of the Knights play, and it's tough. You know, it's hard to get in a rhythm, but you saw them get in a rhythm quite a few times in that first set. And so the Knights looking forward to expanding upon that momentum and expanding upon what things that they did well in that first set here in the second set.
They definitely had the momentum for the middle part of the last part of the first set.
Right.
And then towards the end, it kind of flipped over to the Seagulls.
Right, and so far the Knights looking to, again, spread out the offense, making it so that everyone's involved. Looks like they're doing a very good job of that so far, with so many players getting involved. I mean, nobody really standing out as far as kills are concerned. It's spread out across the board. And so from what I see, Coach Dave Baker's focus has been taken into consideration as that is a service ace for Larry Crockett to start off this set. That's how you start off a set after a loss.
It's a very good way to bounce back right there.
Larry Crockett, of course, one of the juniors on this team. She is from Wilcox, Arizona. And that's going to be hit out of bounds. That was number 11, Chloe Adam of the Seagulls, making it a 2-0 in favor of the Knights. Tell you what, though, that was good vision by Chloe Adam to see that cross-court opening just a little bit too hard.
That was a very good idea, but like you said, yeah, just too hard.
And that one's going to get called out, making it 2-1 in favor of the Knights. Now we have a substitution for the Seagulls as number 1. Darian DiMatteo will be checking in for number 11, Chloe Adam. Haley Lonez passes it to Crockett, who sets it for Heyer. Lindsey Heyer able to block that back. And that's going to hit the net for Venturelli, and that's going to make it 3-1 in favor of the Knights. We just got word that Mary Washington beat St. Mary's in that first set in a tight one. And so we'll see how the rest of that game goes. Now Haley Lonez will be serving for the Knights. A nice low serve for Lonez. A great hit by Venturelli. That one came off very strong. And that hit, I believe that was number 7, Hannah Sullivan, went through the hands of McKinley Knight, making it 3-2. And I believe it is Hannah Sullivan that'll be serving.
Serving for the Seagulls, number 7, Hannah Sullivan.
Haley Lonez passes it to Crockett, who sets it for Teagues. And that's going to get blocked out of bounds by Venturelli, make it 4-2. And that left-handed hit, so hard to block on the opposing side. And Allison Teagues gives many people fits about that.
Yeah, she had so much power behind it.
And it changes the angle they have to approach it as well. That was a good effort by McKinley Knight to get to it.
Yeah, there's definitely not many left-handers in the front row, especially for the Knights.
Right.
Teagues being the only one, so it does change the angle and the perception a lot.
That's very true. As Carly Cleland serves, the Knights now up 4-3. That's going to go through the block of Savres and Venturelli, making it 5-3. Give another kill to the senior. And now we have number 16, Morgan Catalanoto, checking in for Carly Cleland. And Allison Teagues will be serving. And a service ace for the senior. That was Darian DiMatteo, not able to get to it in time. And we just learned that CNU is beating Penn State Harrisburg 15-3 in the second set, absolutely destroying in that second set as that serve goes into the net for the Knights. Sarah Smedley coming in for Allison Teagues as number 11. Chloe Adam checks in for DiMatteo. Nicole Venturelli, the outside hitter, will be serving for the Seagulls. Smedley, Crockett, tried for the pin, and that goes into the net. They've tried that twice now. Both times, Ella Burrows not quite able to get up high enough, or the set's too low, but something's not working out.
It looked like the set was a little bit low on that one. She just wasn't able to get up and over it enough.
Right. Blocked straight down by Savres, and that makes it 6-6. And now Venturelli was serving again for the Seagulls. McKinley Knight will get it up. Crockett to Rath. A good kill that went through the block of Savres and Rachel Dubbs, and saw her make it 7-6. And number 2, Julia Hopkins will check in. I believe that was for Ella Burrows, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, she's still in the game. So Julia Hopkins comes in and serves. An awkward hit by Venturelli. Blocked straight down by Ella Burrows, making it a 2-point lead.
Ella Burrows does not seem to be feeling the pressure of this playoff game at all.
No, she's not. She's handling it very well, as she has all season, coming in and really just being a part of the starting group and really just putting in her work and doing a great job. One of the leaders in kills for the season and blocks. And that's going to be a good hit by number 8, Madison Lim from Columbia, Maryland. And that'll make it 7-8 in favor of the Knights still. And then Haley Daughtry serving. Hopkins, pass it to Crockett, who sets it for Burrows. But Daughtry able to get to it. Blocked down by Burrows. Smedley gets to it. Crockett to Lonez. It looks like it's going to go out of bounds here. And now it'll tie it up at 8. And again, Daughtry serving for the Seagulls. Hopkins to Crockett. She's going to set it right over, but number 11, Chloe Adams, able to get to it. McKinley Knight, Louis Crockett, Haley Lonez, and that looks like it's going to be another net violation on number 6, Louis Crockett. And that'll put the Seagulls in the lead here in the second set. Daughtry serving, and that's Hopkin. Crockett to Burrows. Smedley to Crockett to Lonez, and that one's going to go way out, make it a 10-8. Feels like Haley Lonez just a little bit out of sync right now.
He just needs to get a little bit more on top of it, put a little more top spin on the ball to get it to come down.
And now Daughtry serving again. Burrows able to get to that one after Hopkin hit it. Smedley gets it over. A good hit by number 11, Chloe Adam. Another good hit by Adam as it gets past the block of Laree Crockett, making it 11-8. And Coach Debbie Baker will call a timeout and try to get things back together for the Knights. And we'll take a timeout with them. We'll be right back. And we're back here in this second set. The Seagulls find themselves up by 3 over the Knights, 11-8. We have some more updates for CAC Conference Tournament play so far. CNU is beating Penn State Harrisburg 23-9 in the second set. So CNU looking to be very in control of that game.
It's a very lopsided match.
Yeah, very much so. And so it looks like Daughtry will be serving again for the Seagulls. Starting to hear the chants from the home crowd here, as people are still continuing to pile in here in the Knight Sports Arena. Hopkin passes it to Crockett, who sets it for Lonez. Venturelli able to dig that one. Chloe Adam finding a groove here in this second set as she just gets a third kill in a row. Make it 12-8. And the Knights now find themselves down by 4. And that's going to be inbounds. Julia Hopkin hesitated on that one, and before she knew it, it was inbounds and a point for the Seagulls, making it 13-8. And that's going to be a service ace for the Seagulls. Some misjudgment of where the ball is by the Knights. Make it 14-8.
The Seagulls are placing these perfectly. So the Knights they think they're going out because they're right by the line, but it just lands like right inside the line.
Smedley gets to it. Crockett to Lonez. That's a great hit by number 5, Rachel Dubbs. Make it 15-8 over the Knights. And another timeout by head coach Debbie Baker for the Knights. And it's looking like that the Seagulls are really finding their stride here in this second set. And the Knights, at the same time, are having some struggles here offensively.
They've just had too many errors and not knowing where the lines are exactly. They just need to know where they are on the court and start to just get a little bit more on top of their hits to get them to drop inside the lines.
Right, absolutely. And again, we talked about those not being aware of where the ball is. They could also give, like you said, credit to the Seagulls for having those very well-placed serves, making it tough for them not to come back and make that decision to go for it. Because, again, if there's free points, you don't want to let that slide. But at the same time, if it's that close, you don't want to leave up the chance, especially in a tight game like this.
Right. It's like in baseball. When you have 2 strikes, if it's anywhere close, you're swinging. It's kind of like that because if it's that close to the line, you got to go for it because it can just drop right in.
Right, absolutely. As now Haley Daughtry will be serving yet again. Haley Daughtry is a junior from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, went to Nazareth Area High School. And she's been serving for the past, I believe, 6 points for the Seagulls. Hopkins will get to it. Crockett to Lonez. A good hit by number 7, Hannah Sullivan. As Ella Burrows gets it back over, Daughtry sets it up. And that's going to be out of bounds hit by Chloe Adam. The Seagulls thinking that it was tipped, but it's not going to be called that way as it's now 9:15. Lindsay Heyer checks back in for McKinley Knight. And Channing Jackson comes in for the Knights. Channing Jackson is a freshman from Kanab, Utah. Went to Kanab High School. She hasn't seen a whole lot of action so far this year. And it looks like it's been served out of bounds. Make it 9-16. And Ella Burrows will check right back in for her. And McKinley Knight will come right back in for Burrows. Interesting strategy there to put in the freshman, Channing Jackson. Hasn't seen a lot of time for that serve. Interesting decision by Coach Baker.
It's very interesting, yeah, like you said, to bring her in for her almost pretty much her first time because she hasn't seen much action at all in a first-round CAC tournament game.
Right. Well, I'm sure she has her reasons, so we'll see how that turns out. Now Daughtry passes it to Cleveland, and that's going to go just inside the block of Lindsay Heyer and Haley Lonez. Make it 17-9. The Seagulls really running away with the second set. McKinley Knight, pass to Crockett who sets it for Heyer. A good hit by Lindsay Heyer. Lindsay Heyer's been a bright spot for the Knights so far today.
Heyer has been on fire. I don't think she's made one mistake tonight with her 3 kills and 2 blocks. She's just adding so much to the Knights here tonight.
She really has. She's one of those players that you can just depend on, not really making many mistakes because she's so smart. And CNU is now up 2-0 over Penn State Harrisburg. We just found out in conference play. And now it is 18-10 in favor of the Seagulls. Number 1, Darian DiMatteo will be checking in. And we also found out that Mary Washington is up 14-9 in their second set over St. Mary's. Lindsay Heyer again with a kill. Make it 11-18. Lindsay slowly working her way up as one of the leaders in kills so far tonight. They're finding out that middle spot is open in that Seagulls defense, so maybe we'll start to see more of those sets from the middle blockers. Venturelli gets a kill there as Haley Lonez is not able to get to it. Make it 19-11 as Salisbury checks in.
The Salisbury team is playing with so much fire right now. All of their hits have so much power behind them, and they're literally putting everything that they have out on the court tonight.
They really have. They've had some great sets, which has led to those great kills. Rath able to get a kill there, make it 12-19. And now Ella Burrows check in for Lindsay Heyer, and McKinley Knight will serve for the Knights. A good block by Ella Burrows, but Cleveland able to dig it out of the net for the Seagulls. Rath able to get it over. That's going to be out of bounds. Point for the Knights. Make it 13-19. We're starting to see a little bit of a comeback and some fire build up for SVU.
These timeouts might be working now.
Yeah, very true. And now we just found out that York's conference matchup, they are tied 1-1 in sets. And that is York and York is the number 3 seed and Frostburg State is the 6th seed. And so that set, again, that series is tied 1-1. Haley Lona is able to get to it, and then Salisbury is able to hit it down, make it 21-13 in favor of the Seagulls. The fact that Crock is able to get her hand underneath it in the first place is astonishing. Cleveland serving. Lonez to Crockett, who sets it for Teagues, who hits it right into the net. The Knights really trying to get that outside hit going when so far tonight it hasn't been quite there. As Ryan Dubinsky, the junior, will check in for Ella Burrows. And then now we'll see Carly Cleveland, I believe. Yeah, Carly Cleveland, excuse me, coming in. And that's going to go off the hands awkwardly of Haley Lonez, make it 23-13. Haley Lonez to Crockett. Dubinsky. And it's blocked straight down by Salisbury to make that 24-13 set point.
You know, I think what we've been seeing these past 3 points is a little bit of a lack of focus because of the lead that Salisbury has taken. That they feel like they're at such a huge deficit.
And that hit's going to go off Haley Lonez, make it 25-13 in the second set. Will go to the Seagulls. And you got to wonder, this is kind of representation of how Salisbury probably felt last time they came here when they lost those 3 sets to 1. Salisbury coming back with a vengeance here in the first round of conference play. And we'll be right back with you for some, halftime updates for you. We'll be right back with you in just a few moments. We're back for our intermission report is what we'll call it here. And a lot of things to talk about for the night. So far, not quite what we expected here as the Salisbury Seagulls take a 2-0 series or set lead, And again, we talked about some things the Knights are doing and things that you talk about at the end of the second set. Just seemed like a lack of focus, not able to receive sets well. And that's something that Coach Baker's been really set on. What are some things that you have noticed in these first 2 sets from the Knights?
Well, so like we were talking about, there was a little bit of lack of focus at the end of the second set because they were at such a huge deficit that they might have felt like they had dug themselves in such a deep hole that they couldn't get out. And so that's where the mistakes were coming from, is just a lack of focus. But the first set, like we also talked about, they had the energy going into the end of it and the momentum. And Salisbury just took over out of nowhere. And they continued that energy and momentum into the second set.
Right, they absolutely did. And by doing so, they did it by great sets, as we talked about, which leads to great hits. That's something Coach Baker mentioned right before the game. In fact, her own words were, when we pass well, we hit well, plain and simple. And that's exactly what Salisbury is doing to the Knights right now. And, I mean, again, we talked about how the first set you mentioned, how the Knights had a lot of momentum, doing a lot of things right, and having a lot of energy, some great passes. But again, the second set, not having that same focus, and now winning 3 straight sets. It's quite the tall order in volleyball, especially in a tough conference like the CAC. And so for you, what are some things that you feel like they could do to pull off those 3 set wins?
So they've lost the first set many times this season, as we've talked about on this network before. But they've lost the second set also, which has, I don't know if it's ever happened that they've lost the first 2 sets here at home. And so I think what they need to do is come out here and bounce back and get this third set, and then carry that momentum into the fourth set, and then take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get the momentum back first and foremost. That's what volleyball is all about. It's all about momentum. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day if the momentum is with them. I mean, that's most sports of volleyball. That is especially true. And we also talked about some conference games that are happening right now. So far, we have CNU, and I believe it is, Penn State Harrisburg. CNU is up 2 sets to nothing. And we also have Frostburg State and York trading sets right now. That's a 3 seed York going up against a 6 seed Frostburg State. And so some great action here in conference play so far. Of course, this one, the Knights being down 2 sets to nothing. And again, in this conference, anything can happen. I mean, look at Frostburg State. Could possibly pull up an upset of York. Who knows? But that's us for the intermission report. We'll be right back with you for some third set action here at Knight Sports Arena. We'll be right back. We're back with you live for some third set action between the Seagulls of Salisbury University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. And we were just talking during our break how Nicole Venturelli for Salisbury so far is having a much better game than she did last time she was here at Knights Sports Arena. That time she only came away with 9 kills total, but in the first set she ended up with 6 and has a total of 7 now.
Right, and she started off a little cold, had 6 errors in the first set, but then since then has been on fire as far as kills go, and her hits have just been going in all over the place.
Yeah, they really have, and the Knights, they've been really focused on trying to limit her, and they did a great job last time. This time, of course, things not working out so great. Salisbury making some adjustments to make that not the case. And again, Salisbury taking a lot of momentum with them after that second set, and the Knights looking to just hit them right in the mouth right at the beginning of this third set and take the momentum right back and take this third set, and like you said, just go from there, see what happens. And then we have number 5 for Salisbury serving. That is Rachel Dubbs. Smedley able to get that. Crockett to Burrows. And that's going to go off the hands of Venturelli and put the Knights up 1-0 as Lindsay Heyer comes in from McKinley Knight. That's another thing we've noticed too is in the first 2 sets, and this one including, the Knights have taken the first point in each one. They have come out strong. It's just finishing those sets is what's been a struggle for them so far. That's off the hands of Lindsay Heyer as it gets going to go out of bounds, make it 1-1 as McKinley Knight will come in for Ella Burrows. And then now Darian DiMatteo will be serving for the Seagulls. Hopkin, Crockett to Lonez. And that's going to be off the hands of number 17, Carly Cleland. Make it 2-1 in favor of the Knights, and Allison Teagues will check back in for Sarah Smedley. Louis Crockett to serve. And you got to imagine that Salisbury is trying to take advantage of the young back row that is often there for the Knights. And we've seen that exploited a couple times. McKinley Knight making a lot of hustle plays so far this season. Tries to do another one there. She dives on the ground for that one, making it 2-2.
That, like you said, the young back row, they have been exploited at times, but they have also shown that they can play and that they're here for a reason.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. As that's Hannah Sullivan serving. That's going to be out of bounds, make it 3-2 for the Knights. McKinley Knight happy that she was willing to let that one go. She smiled at her teammates saying, yep, that one was out. As Kaylee Rath comes in for Julia Hopkin, and Haley Lonez will be serving. Hannah Sullivan goes to it. Blocked down by Lindsay Heyer. Daughtry hits it over. Knight to Crockett to Teagues. A good hit past the block of Savaris. McKinley Knight, a good dig there. Rath. And that's going to go off of DiMatteo for a point for the Knights, make it 4-2.
I think this is exactly the start that the Knights needed to get back into this.
Yeah, it really is, as they are now up by 2 points here as Haley Lonez will be serving. Off the hands of Heyer. Knight to Teagues. Now Lonez will get back over. Daughtry. Teagues able to get it up. Knight to Lonez. But that's Dubs able to get underneath it. Lindsay Heyer able to get her hands on it, helping Kaylee Rath get to it as well. As Haley Lonez steps in front of McKinley Knight and tries to get to it, but not able to get to it in time. Make it 4-3.
She wasn't able to get under that one enough. She passed it off the side of the ball, which caused it to just go straight and landed.
And then now we just learned that Mary Washington just won their second set, and they are now up 2-0 over St. Mary's. Crockett to Teagues, and they're going to call a double on Larry Crockett. Make it 4-4. And it's usually within this range of these first few sets where the Knights kind of start to lose the momentum a little bit. They start out strong, get about a 2 or 3 point lead, and then you see it go down a little bit. Let's see the Knights react to this. That definitely helps.
That definitely pushes some of the momentum towards the Knights side.
Really does, as Ella Burrows checks in for Lindsay Heyer, and McKinley Knight will be serving for the Knights. The Knights now up by 1. And that's blocked down by Kaylee Rath. Make it 6-4. So far, responding well. And McKinley Knight serving again. A good serve to the near side. Ella Burrows able to get it up, and Crockett able to get back over. Fans want it. Oh my goodness, Ella Burrows blocks it straight down. Make it 7-4. You saw a lot of fans asking for a double hit call for Salisbury Sovereigns, but that wasn't going to get called there. McKinley Knight serving. Now the Knights up by 3. Rath able to be there in the right place. Teague's able to get it over. Dubs is going to dig that. And a good hit by Venturelli. Make it 7-5. And then now Nicole Venturelli will be serving for the Seagulls. They find themselves down by 2 in this third set. Lonez to Crockett, who sets it for Teagues. And that's going to be a great kill in that far corner by Allison Teagues. Starting to see the life come back into these fans here at Knight Sports Arena a little bit. Allison Teagues, the senior, serving again. A service ace for the senior. Make it 9-5. Another nice serve by the senior. And a good block by Larry Crockett and Ella Burrows combined to make it 10-5. And then now the Seagulls take a timeout and try to collect themselves together, and we'll do the same. We'll be right back with you in the Knight Sports Network. And we're back for some third set action here in the CAC Conference Tournament. The Knights find themselves down 2 sets to nothing in this third set, and Allison Teagues so far having a little bit of streak of serving. They are now up by 5. The Seagulls just came out of a timeout that they called. McKinley Knight, a great dig. And Ella Burrows gets a good hit there, but recovered by the Seagulls. Ella Burrows to Crockett, who sets it for Burrows. Just a soft hit across. Teagues to Crockett, to Rath. Venturelli able to get it up. Dubs. Venturelli able to, and that's going to go out of bounds. Make it 11-5. The senior Allison Teague serving again. We just found out in the third set that York is beating Frostburg 18-16. That game is tied 1-1, and that's going to go hit the ceiling And with that rule, they're going to call it out of bounds. If it hits the ceiling and that affects where it's going to fall, they call it out of bounds. And so it'll be 11-6. We also got some word about CNU and Penn State Harrisburg. That is a 23-20 game in that third set. Penn State Harrisburg trying to make a little bit of a comeback. And they're going to call that out of bounds, make it 7-11. A lot of people disagreeing with that call here in Knight Sports Arena. Haley Daughtry serving for the Seagulls. Smedley to Crockett to Rath. Dubs is going to get it to Hannah Sullivan. Lonez gets it over. And that's going to be blocked straight down by Ella Burrows and Laree Crockett. And we'll see the freshman Julia Hopkins come back in for Kaylee Rath.
Blocking has been a huge bright spot with the Knights today.
Yeah, it really has. Right after the timeout was called by Salisbury, we saw Coach W. Baker talking to her on the side with a big smile on her face, knowing that Laree Crockett's doing so many things right now. As Julia Hopkins serves, going to go into the net. Julia Hopkins kind of struggling serving again. We talked about this being all these freshmen's first conference tournament game. She had a serve earlier that went out of bounds, and this one hit the net. And now it's only a 4-point lead. Hopkins to Crockett to Lonez. That's going to be blocked straight down, but Teague's able to get to it. Crockett passes it to Lonez. Blocked straight down by Sullivan. Looks like a impenetrable wall there for a second as that was combined with Sullivan and Chloe Adam. And then now Rachel Dubs serving. Hopkins to Crockett to Burrows, who has a powerful hit but blocked up in the air by Hannah Sullivan. Knight. And it's going to hit off the ceiling and make it difficult for Laree to get to. Make it 12-10. Rachel Dubs serving for the Seagulls yet again. Hopkins to Crockett to Lonez. A nice hit by Lonez. She's going to hit it straight down, and it's hit over by Venturelli. Make it 13-10. Now Lindsay Heyer will come back in for McKinley Knight as Ella Burrows will serve. There's a sort of situation where the energy that Haley Lonez brings is necessary to finish off this third set. Smedley hits it up in the air, and Crockett gets to it. To Burrows. Daughtry able to set it up in the air. Adam. Crockett. Higher. That's going to be blocked straight down by Hannah Sullivan. Make it 13-11 with McKinley Knight coming back in. And now DiMatteo serving for the Seagulls, Hopkins tonight. Lonez. And now it's going to be a point for Seagulls. We just found out that CNU has just finished a sweep of Frostburg State. Actually, CNU over Penn State Harrisburg, They won that game 3 sets to nothing. Lindsay Heyer able to dig it out of the net. Lona is able to drop that in there. And that's going to be a point for the Knights. Make it 14-12 as the senior Allison Teagues will check back in for Sarah Smedley. And Laree Crockett will serve for the Knights. A serve that skims the top of the net. Venturelli has a powerful hit, digged by McKinley Knight. Good hit by Haley Lonez. And a great kill by Carly Cleland, making it 13-14. Now Hannah Sullivan will be serving for the Seagulls. And that's going to hit off of Haley Lonez. She was not able to back out of it in time. Make it 14-14. Sullivan serving again. And that's going to go out of bounds, and the Knights will reclaim the lead. Kaylee Rath will come back in for Julia Hopkin. And Haley Lonez will serve. Dubs to Venturelli. McKinley Knight will get over. Lindsay Heyer able to tip it across, but the Seagulls able to manage it. Blocked straight down by Lindsay Heyer. 16-14 is the score here for the Knights. And I'll give Lindsay Heyer, I believe, her third block of the game. Another good serve by Haley Lonez. Crockett. And that's going to look like they're going to call it a double hit on Haley Lonez, make it 15-16. And then now Carly Cleveland will serve. That's going to go out of bounds, make it 17-15. McKinley Knight so close to going after it due to past experience, but wisely decides not to.
And this is around the time that the Seagulls usually take over the momentum, but the Knights are doing a great job of keeping it on their side.
They really are as McKinley Knight serving. She abandons that soft strategy a little bit as she hits a nice solid serve. Savrace gets a kill as Haley Lonez dives for it, make it 16-17. And the Knights need to wipe down a part of the floor on their side of the court. Nicole Venturelli serving for the Seagulls. Lonez passes to Crockett, who sets it for Teagues. That's a great kill for the senior Allison Teagues. That gives her 6 kills on the night.
That was a crucial hit right there.
It really was. Again, we talked about her clutch ability, the ability to make plays at just the right moments, making it 18-16. And that was Allison Teague serving there as well. And Chloe Adam able to get that in there, making a 1-point game. As Sarah Smiley checks in for the senior. We've also got word that Mary Washington just swept St. Mary's 3-0. Louis Crockett. And so with that, it'll make it that the winner of this game will play against Mary Washington at Mary Washington. Some great effort play by the Knights there as they're struggling to keep that momentum on their side, and it's now tied 18-18. Daughtry, and that's McKinley Knight. Crockett to Rath. That's going to hit off the ceiling there as Rachel Dubs. McKinley Knight, Crockett. Burrows tries for the pin play. McKinley Knight, a good dig. Kaylee Rath, another good dig by Daughtry. Looks like a net violation on the Seagulls, making it 19-18. And that's one of those plays that early on in the season the Knights wouldn't have won. It's those long rallies that the Knights always struggled with, but finding the ability to win that one today.
And they find themselves back against the wall a little bit here, down 2 sets, and they're just trying to give every fight they have to get themselves back into this match.
Right. We've also heard that York is over leading Frostburg State 2-1. And a good kill by number 7. That is Hannah Sullivan. Make it 19-19. And now Carly Cleveland will check in for the Seagulls. And number 5, Rachel Dubs, will be serving. Julie Hopkin to Crockett, to McKinley Knight. Hopkin able to get back up tonight. That was a good dig by Sarah Smedley. Another good dig by Smedley to Crockett, to Hopkin, and that's going to go right into the net. Jumped a little too late on that one. Make it 20-19 in favor of the Seagulls. And then our coach, Debbie Baker, will call a timeout near the end of this third set. The Knights now find themselves down by 1. And so another intense set here. Both sets, actually, first and third set so far, they're extremely tight. That second set, not quite so much, but the Knights doing a lot of things right so far to try to keep momentum on their side, but the Seagulls really overwhelming as far as trying to do the same thing for them.
And that's definitely the theme of this match so far. The effort for the Knights is there. They're giving it everything they have, and right now it's just not enough to overcome the Seagulls. They're just overpowering them in every way.
Yeah, the Seagulls just playing excellent volleyball right now. And again, this is quite the home crowd to turn out here for the Knights in this home conference playoff game. And, we have to talk about how well this young team has done so far this year. We're definitely hoping that they're able to pull and win these 3 straight sets. But with that being said, this is such a young team. There's so much potential with this group. People like Ella Burrows, Julia Hopkin, Sarah Smedley, all these young players. And then, of course, you got sophomores like Lindsay Heyer and Haley Lonez that really helped this team and have really been the core of this team really so far. The senior Allison Teague's leading the way. And we'll see how this young group responds in the epitome of adversity in volleyball as far as we can tell, or as far as we can say. Rachel Dubbs serving for the Seagulls. Smedley to Crockett, who sets it for Lonez. And that's blocked straight down by Carly Cleveland. They now take a 2-point lead, 21-19. Now, if you're the Seagulls, that's exactly what we want to come out of a timeout doing. And the Knights had a great strategy. Set it up for your leader in kills. That's a good hit by Haley Lonez. But Chloe Adam able to get it back across. Knight to Crockett to Lonez. Off the hands of Burrows. Crockett to Burrows. And that's going to go out of bounds, make it 22-19. Now we have junior Ryan Dubinsky checking in for Ella Burrows. And again, Rachel Dubbs serving for the Seagulls. Of course, Coach Baker looking to have some experience in there and in such a tight scenario. McKinley Knight diving on the ground to get it. Smedley's going to hit it over. Chloe Adams going to dig that. A great hit by Hannah Sullivan. As Coach Debbie Baker elects to take another timeout, the Knights now find themselves down by 4, 23-19. And we'll be right back with you after this timeout. And coming out of that timeout, the Knights find themselves down by 4 in this third set. The Seagulls taking the first 2 sets. And the Knights looking for every ounce of momentum and energy they can to muster up a win in this third set and keep them alive. Rachel Dubbs serving for the Seagulls. Hopkin. Crockett to Lonez. That's blocked. Crockett to Lonez. Good hit recovered by Chloe Adam. Off the block of Ryan Dubinsky. That'll make it set point for the Seagulls. Match point, actually, excuse me. Rachel Dubbs serving again. Smedley to Crockett to Hopkin. Off the hands of Dubinsky. Knight to Lonez. And they're going to call that a double on the Seagulls, make it 20-24. Lindsay Hire will come in along with Kanani Lasike. Coach David Baker looking for that consistent serving that Lasike has provided in the past. Smedley able to get it up. Crockett to Hire. Chloe Adam gets to it. Carly Cleveland. And that'll be the game for this first round of a CAC Conference Women's Volleyball. The Seagulls take it 3-0. And again, just what a hard-fought win for the Seagulls, and what a tough way to lose for the Knights, as far as just having such a great season with such a young team, and players really stepping up and playing so well throughout the season. You know, going through injuries, going through different things throughout the season that have made it tough for the Knights. But you can't be anything but proud of this Knights team.
No, especially the effort that they gave tonight. I think it's safe to say they've literally left everything they had out on the court.
Yeah, they really have. And of course, with that, this is Allison Teagues' last game here as an SVU Knight. She's the lone senior on this squad. We honored her for senior night a week and a half ago. And of course, she's getting hugs from many different people here at Knight Sports Arena. And again, the Knights will really miss her leadership, the great player she's been for them, so consistent throughout the time that she's been here, especially during this season where she's been the main player they've looked up to. And again, she'll be sorely missed for this Knights squad.
Yes, she was, and the energy that she brought on the court every time she came on was just, energy is very contagious, and the energy that she brought just brought energy into the rest of the team. And you know, she was pretty much the heart of the team every time she came onto the court.
Yeah, she definitely was. And with that, we will sign off for the last time for women's volleyball. This is Dawson Weidrich and Shane Maloof. You were with us on the Knight Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we wish good luck to Allison Teagues, the senior, in her future endeavors. And we're looking forward to next year for women's volleyball. And with that, good night and go Knights.